Liamo, what's up, man? Welcome to my guitar video tutorial. In place of last week's lesson, keep you updated here. If you'll notice, my camera here is mirrored, so it looks like I'm playing lefty, but I'm not. Playing righty, so this is normal. Hopefully you won't get confused by that. And if you have any problems, let me know. I posted a video up in the email I'm going to send you with this on it as well. It's just a guy going over some major and minor bar shapes, which I'll go over real quick here. The first thing he does is shows you with root on the E string, your low E. He shows you the bar chords on that root string, which we have gone over. But if you look at the video and watch it, you'll get a better understanding of it, and he explains it really well. So, but just in case this can help you out at all with that, root on the E string means obviously your lowest note would be on the E string. If we have open E chord, which we've done before, this is a E major chord, right? We got middle finger, 2nd fret A string, ring finger, 2nd fret D string, pointer finger, 1st fret G string. That's our E major chord. So once you get your fingers in that position, you'll remember it. So basically, if we move that up the neck 1/2 step at a time, you would get this sound. Not changing my hands at all. Sounds pretty cool sometimes, but not in all positions. If you go off the 1 chord, and then you go up to the 5 position, and to the 4 position, you got 1, 4, 5, it's going to sound nice. Now I'm just droning these open strings, the E, and the B, all of which occur in an E major chord. So, therefore, it's going to work with the 1, the 4, and the 5. However, when we move this chord up the neck, that sounds kind of Mexican-like. But it doesn't sound good on its own. It sounds a little, you hear it. So what do we have to do to compensate for that? First of all, we can change our fingering. Notice how from here, move up here, I can change my finger. I can replace my ring finger right here with my pinky. I can replace what was my middle finger with my ring finger. And then what was my pointer finger, I now have my middle finger on. So we just shifted it up. See that? It's kind of hard to see. The light is not good here. Let me see if I get a little light on. So you see that? This was the original shape. Bad chord. We're going to change it to this. Now you have your ring finger available. What do you think we're going to do with this? You know, we're going to bar. And there's that shape that you know already. You showed it to me. Now from there, we can move that up the whole neck. Now it's going to sound good everywhere you play it. All the way up. If you don't have this bar compensating, you're going to get this. Which only sounds good in certain spots. But the point of the bar is that we can play a major chord in any key. You're just moving this open E shape. Again, we had it like this. This is the proper way to finger it. Just an E major open chord. But when you change it to this, you now have your pointer finger ready to go so that when we move up, there it is. So we can compensate, move up the neck. So we know now that this middle finger would be the 3rd of the chord. So we can release the middle finger, but hold the bar, and you'll get a minor chord. See? See what I mean? I'm not touching the neck with this. And then when I do touch the neck with this, So that's basically major and minor chords on the E string, and we talked about that. I just wanted to touch up on it. Also, if we move the root to the A string, which would mean you would have, that's the open shape with your root on the A string. Remember this chord, this is A major. It's just 2nd fret on the D string, 2nd fret on the G string, and 2nd fret on the B string. And then finally, open A and open E, you get. So same thing as we did with the other string. If you move this up, it's going to do the same thing. It's that little Mexican sound. But it doesn't sound good on its own. That's a little weird. Again, if we try the 1, 4, and 5, though, that's a cool surf rock kind of sound. Whammy bar. Not changing the shape at all from this A major. Just moving it up to the right fret, which would be 2nd fret, and then up to the 7th, and then the 9th. Which is the same thing if we do it on the E string. It's a different key, but it's the same feel and the same progression. But we just have to know what notes make that major shape, and notice that it changes. When we have our root on the E string, it's this. But when we have a root on the A string, it changes. It would be like this. If we didn't change our finger, it would be like that. But we have to change it to compensate for this B string, which is 2.5 steps down. If you'll notice, your E major, if you move that exact hand shape down the string, you get A minor. So you have to, sharp that 3 to get the major. So now the same thing goes on this string. As long as you have this shape right, when you move it up, your finger's ready to bar. So you bar. This is not an optimal way to play the chord, though. It works, sure, but what I like to do, and what all players like to do, instead of just doing this, we can take our, in the open position, I use my pointer finger, but just for the example, I'm going to use my ring finger here. And I'm just going to bar over those 3 notes. So now, when I move it up a 1/2 step to the Mexican chord, still sounds bad, but I have my finger ready. That's called I want to get my middle finger out. You don't want your finger back here. That's annoying. Right here. It's only 2 fingers. It's a bar. It's going to be a little painful. The guy's going to go over it in the video. You got to watch the other video with this too, because he'll explain this. Alright. So now it's the major shape, and that works. That works just the same as on the other string, this one. But now we have to change the shape of it. Okay? Because if you play the same shape as you do on this, down here, you get minor. And we know that. We talked about it a little bit, but I'm just trying to get it in your head. That's a minor. So anyway, hopefully this and that other video will come together for you, and we can address it, next week. One more thing I wanted to go over with you was the chord progression that we were working on. In the email I wrote, it's a, what is it, a 1, 3, 6 progression in the key of A. So that would be in the key of A. We have the 1 chord. We talked about our major shape just before in this video. There's your E. If you move it up, you have the Mexican chord, but now you got to compensate. There's your bar, so that's F major now. E major, F major, F sharp major, G major, G sharp major, A major. That's our 1 chord for the progression. On the 5th fret, root E string, A major. Now we got to find the 3 chord, which I said is C sharp minor. Now we talked about where C is. It's going to be the 3rd fret on the A string right here. This is C. So if we know where C is, C sharp has to be a 1/2 step above it, right here. So now it's just a question of major or minor. And we said that the chord is going to be minor. So we talked about if your root, your C sharp is on the A string, then you have to use this shape. See that? It's going to be tough. If you have any questions, ask me. But, so that's that. It's the same shape as the major, A major, That's your first chord of the progression. The second one is the same shape, but you just move it down a half step and down a string. So instead of your root on the A string, you move it down to the D string. This would be a D minor. We want C sharp minor, which is a half step below, because C sharp is the same thing as D flat. But don't worry about D flat. We're talking about C sharp. It's all about reference points. You have an A major here. You know you have a C and a D here, so this has to be C sharp. So if you look at it just using one finger, you go. There's A. There's C sharp. 5th fret E string, 4th fret A string. Now we use the same chord shape for each of them. Sounds really nice. Finally, we need the 6. We talked about it. It's F sharp minor. We know where E is. There's open E. We know F is here. F sharp. So now we have to decide how we make that chord minor. How do we make it minor? Well, this was the major shape when your root is on the E string. So what do we have to do? We have to flat the 3. And our middle finger needs to get lost. See that? Okay? So now you have this. It's power chord shape on top. And then you're going to bar the bottom 3 strings. See that? See how my finger is? Bars it. And then ring finger, 4th fret A string, pinky, 4th fret D. Middle finger is just floating. It's not anywhere. You get it. So the full shape, the full progression goes like this. So that's how that works. That should be it, man. You know, we talked about a couple little nuances that I was doing in the lesson last week. This kind of thing. It's like, remember that? So all that is, again, if you can't really get these chords down by next week, don't worry about these nuances. But if you manage to master them quicker and you want to challenge yourself a little bit, then you can look at these nuances, aka little accents, you know. So you got your 1 chord, in between your 1 and your 3, I'm going to go open A string, B, which would be the 2nd fret of the A string, and C, and then just right into the chord. So it's little kind of like a hesitation there. See? And then into the chord. Now I could play an F minor chord down here, or I could find F sharp minor down here, or I could find F sharp with the root on the A string, which would be this note right here, 9th fret. In which case, then you have to add, it's the same chord, just an octave higher. So it depends which one you like better. Sometimes when I'm jamming, I like to switch back and forth. That'll help you kind of get your chord progression to sound a little less repetitive. Change it up a little bit. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions for this video. Next week we'll go over this. Yeah, and try and get those chords down. Look at the major and minor bar chords, and look at this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully, if you can nail some of that stuff by next week, we can have a really good jam on it, write a little song. So tuning out. Peace out, Liamo.